Words before we go into Kabbalat Shabbat together. Today is Purim, and it pays, therefore, to take a little bit of a message, a little bit of inspiration from the Megillah, which was read so beautifully by me last night, and so beautifully by and so beautifully by Daniel as well, and by Rabbi Feldman too. And a couple of little nuggets that I thought I would share. Pays to pay attention. I was sent a little snapshot of a message from the Lubavitcher Rebbe Zatzal, and he said that he was once asked what we can learn from the custom of wearing costumes on Purim, and the Rebbe answered that, you go around on Purim and you see people who are wearing all different types of costumes. One person is a clown, one person is an animal, one person you're not even too sure what their costume is. And, if you see these people, you don't get angry or upset with them. You understand that it's just a costume. And he said that in life, we meet different types of people. We meet people who are impatient. We meet people who are angry. We meet people who are apathetic. And we have to understand that that is not who they are. Even though they may exhibit and display these particular behaviors, that is not who they are. These are just costumes. And really, underneath that costume, underneath the thing that might be irritating or offensive or insulting, we have to understand that all in the heart of every single person is warmth, is purity, is beauty. And so we have to learn how to interact with people and to cope in a world where people are wearing their costumes. And we have to work at understanding and uncovering and revealing the pure neshama that lies inside each and every single one of us. And I thought that was one very beautiful message. But I wanted to share one other message as well, which is from the words of the Megillah itself. You see, we're taught that anytime we see the name of God in the Megillah, hang on a minute, there's no name of God in the Megillah. Well done, Rabbi Nick. Caught yourself there. There is no mention of Hashem in the Megillah. And yet we're taught that anytime we see the name Hamelech, the king, which in the context of the story, or at least the superficial level of understanding of the story, we know that that is referring to Achashverosh. But we're taught that anytime it says Hamelech, without saying Hamelech Achashverosh, that actually it's referring also to Hashem. And he is hidden there, woven into the fabric of the story, with all of the strings that are pulling in all kinds of different directions. Whenever we see Hamelech, we know that it means Hashem as well. And so if we look at a couple of examples where we see Hamelech, something very interesting emerges from the story of the Megillah. When Mordechai confronts Esther after finding out about Haman's decree, so he, as we know, he goes and puts on sackcloth, he starts mourning, he's wailing and crying in the middle of the city, trying to stir everyone's emotions. And Esther sends Hatach to go and bring Mordechai. And Hatach goes out to the city square to find Mordechai. And Mordechai tells him about all that had happened and how Haman is trying to annihilate the Jews. And then Hatach comes to Esther with this information. And there's a point at which Esther and Mordechai finally interact. And Mordechai says to Esther, do not imagine that you'll be able to escape in the king's palace any more than the rest of the Jews. This is a critical and defining moment between Mordechai and Esther. This interaction is crucial. This is the point at which Mordechai is able to encourage and motivate and stir up within Esther the ability to stand up and approach the king. She says, I haven't been with the king for 30 days. One can't just approach the king. Okay, but there's a level under here that we need to reveal. Mordechai is saying to Esther that if Hashem, if the king has made this decree, don't think that you can just remain silent. If the Jewish people are being attacked, if the Jewish people are threatened, if people's lives are being in jeopardy, you need to step up. And who knows, maybe this is precisely the reason why Hashem has put you in this situation. This is what it's all building towards. If you have got the ability to step up, if you have got the ability to have a voice, if you have got the ability to step forward, then you need to take that responsibility. So that's one occasion where this is done in the context of Hamelech. This is done in the context of the king. The other one that I wanted to bring to our attention is in chapter 6, which is when we read that the tone changes. This is after the first feast with Esther and Achashverosh and Haman. And she has said to Achashverosh, I will tell you what I want tomorrow. Come to another feast and I will tell you tomorrow. And that night, Achashverosh is so disturbed. He can't sleep because he doesn't know what Esther wants from him. It's very, very strange. And we read, and there's a custom to sing that word Hamelech in the same way that we sing Hamelech on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, because it's, so to speak, the night on which Hashem is finally waking up, so to speak, to what is going on over here. So we have, in this beginning of chapter 6 as well, we have Hamelech, and that there, under the surface of everything, is Hamelech, is the king, is Hashem, realizing what it is that is going to be done. And what happens? So he wakes up, he can't sleep, he finds out about Mordechai, he decides he's going to reward Mordechai. Haman comes in, thinks that Achashverosh is going to reward him, and so he comes up with this elaborate thing. This is what you're going to have to do when you want to reward someone who has saved your life, and you dress them up and you parade them through the town. And then, the bombshell, he's actually talking about Mordechai, and this is what Haman then has to do to Mordechai, has to lead him through the town. And what does he say? Another point in the Megillah where we kind of change the way in which we read, and the words that he says is like this. We get to this point in the Megillah where we say, here we go. So Haman is leading him through the city, and he says, calls out before him, Kacha yaseh la'ish asher hamelech chafetz bikaro. This is what is done for the man whom the king especially wants to honor. And we're crying out over here that when you step up, when you act in the way that Hashem wants us to act, when we are a proud and vibrant part of the Jewish people, this is what Hashem does. He rewards the people who are dear to him. He rewards the people who are seizing things by the hands, who are embracing what it means to be a Jew, what it means to live with Jewish values, with Jewish traditions, with Jewish ideals. There's reward in store. There's amazing things in store. This is what Hamelech, this is what Hashem wants to do for us. And I found this such an empowering idea that, number one, when it's appropriate, we have to step up. When we have the talent, when we have the ability, when we have something to contribute, we have to be unafraid. We have to be courageous and brave and step into that spotlight. And when we do, and when we are advocates and good examples for the Jewish people, then kacha yaseh leish. This is what Hashem does. He rewards us. He pays us back for the good and the light that we bring to the world. So a lovely little message there that I think takes us into Shabbos.